I said it last week that the next week Invincible episode gonna be super peak, and guess what? It's so fucking good. Bro, I didn't give it a 10 out of 10. IGN gave this episode a 10 out of 10. The last time I remember IGN giving something 10 out of 10, that was like Last of Us 2. The fact that IGN gave a 10 out of 10, you know this shit is good. Last season they were hating on Invincible. Last season finale, I'm pretty sure they gave it a 4 out of 10. Season 3 with Conquest. So even they gave this episode a 10 out of 10. If you haven't watched Invincible latest episode, go and watch it. So yeah, the episode was super good. I think it's the first time I'm saying after season 1 that the show is actually better than the comics in terms of visuals. Shit actually looks better in the show than in the comics. They did fuck up some stuff. If you remember from the last video, I was talking about my top 3 favorite panels from the comics. I was talking about the lineup panel where like we see the whole lineup who's gonna fight against the Viltrumite, and it's like such a cool panel. They adapted it into the show and it just looks so basic. It's not the worst thing ever. I wish they did something like last year, Invincible season 3 episode 7, when they show the scene of all the Invincible floating above the city they have destroyed, and the art style in that scene is just so good. It's like comic. The art style for that scene just changed. I wish they did something like that for this episode for the lineup panel, but except for like that one panel, the whole episode is super peak. So yeah, this episode is the Viltrum War. The people were hyping the coalition of planet. Nolan, Mark, Thaddeus, Alan, Oliver, Battlebeast, everyone goes to the planet Viltrum to kill Thragg, but turns out Viltrumite were waiting for them. As soon as they try to sneak in, the Viltrumites were waiting for them and they start fucking them up. There are certain things which are different from the comics. First of all, the whole Viltrumite story of the Great Purge and everything, I'm pretty sure that was not in the comic. We do see in the comics that Thaddeus killed Argol. We do see that panel. We don't see the whole backstory of like, oh, when Thaddeus was actually part of the Viltrum nation, he became good and blah blah blah. We don't see that. I'm pretty sure, as far as I remember, Thragg becomes the Grand Regent and then he orders the Great Purge. Nolan talked about that in season 1, the Great Purge, in which their population was cut by half. Even though I've always found the Great Purge like very fucking stupid, because when you see the Great Purge scene, a lot of people are getting backstabbed and ganged on. Like, what if that person was strong and they just got backstabbed? Great Purge was one of the stupidest things in the show. But yeah, we see that and it's like such a good scene. The transition they do with the Thragg when he's like standing in front of all the survivor of Great Purge and it's like thousands of people, and then cut to present. He's like standing alone in his throne room because pretty much all the Viltrumites are gone. They also recreated the scene from season 1 when Nolan was talking about the Great Purge and we see Conquest and the old Viltrumite lady. We see that again this episode, but I really like this whole addition of the Viltrumite backstory. Another thing they did so much better than the comics was the way they handled Thragg this episode. This was Thragg episode, first of all. Like, he's like center of attention in everything. The story of this episode is revolving around him. The fights are revolving around him. He's the one who's winning. And yeah, like I was saying, they handle Thragg way better in the comics. Because in the comic, when the coalition attacks the planet, Thragg is like already in front of the warriors. He's like joining the fight from the start. Compare that to the show where he's actually just standing behind aura farming. And like when Nolan tries to attack him, he just punches it back to the planet. And then we get the Nolan and Mark talk, which was also very different from the comic. In the comic, Thragg and Nolan did had somewhat of their talk. It's not as good as the show one. I think they had a better talk in the show. But they're doing their conversation in between battle when Thragg is trying to kill them. Compare that to the show where Thragg is like all calm. He punches Nolan to the Viltrum planet and then he's like, Nolan, my friend, join us back again. I will forgive all of your sins. This is our culture. This is all we have. This is our planet Viltrum. And Nolan is like, no, we deserve to die. We destroyed so many planets. We committed genocide on so many civilizations. Their talk is like way more deeper than the comics and it's handled way better. In the show, their talk is completely different. After like all talk fails and Nolan is like, no, I'm not gonna join your fight. Thragg then like, okay, I bet you want fight. I'm gonna give you the fight. And oh my fucking god, this motherfucker Thragg was airbending. He literally pulls his punch and he's charging his punch and literally air is going around his fucking fist. He's actually stronger than any airbender because this motherfucker is actually pulling Omni-Man, who was like very close to a black hole and survived, was being pulled in by Thragg punch, and then he just punches Omni-Man, throws him out the fucking atmosphere, and then is Thragg season because he's like destroying everyone. He one-shots Oliver, like Mark punches him and nothing happens, and he's like literally manhandling everyone. Nolan, Mark, Oliver, everyone is getting their ass beat. He's faster, stronger than all of them. They also cut off a little bit of their talk from the comic. In the comic, Thragg says to Mark like, oh, you cannot defeat me, even Conquest fears me. And then Mark says that I killed Conquest, I'll kill you too. Compare that to the show where Mark just says, I killed Conquest, I'll kill you. And Thragg is like, okay, let's see. And when Mark says like, I killed Conquest, I'll kill you too, all the Viltrumites then find out that the Conquest died and they all react like, what? Conquest died? He killed Conquest? Because they don't know Conquest is dead. Thragg in the comic is way more seeing Mark as his own people compared to the show, where yes, in the show Thragg does talk to Mark, you could have joined us, you could have been on our side. In the comics, when Mark, Nolan and Thetis they destroy the planet, and Thragg is beating the life out of Mark, he says, "You destroyed my heritage, your heritage." Like, he considered Viltrum planet Mark heritage too. So like in the comic, Thragg is way more seeing Mark as like his own people, his own Viltrumite, which is what we see in the show too. Yeah, and the whole planet destroying sequence, it was so much better than the comic. So much. Don't get me wrong, in the comic it looked super cool, the art was super cool, but it was like Dragon Ball Z. They just nuke a planet and call it a day. Like nothing. You don't see what's happening on the surface. They just nuke the planet. But in the show, we actually see like Space Rider shoots his gun, and then the three Viltrumites are following Mark, Nolan, Thetis, and as they're going through the core, their fucking clothes are burning off, and then we see on the surface like, everything is getting destroyed. Argol statues falling down, great buildings, the great Viltrum Empire is all going to shit, and then the whole planet just nukes. It was such a the song they played, it was so much better than the comics, so much better. And then obviously Thragg just decides to crash out. Like, he's like, "You destroy the planet," and he just kills Thetis in like one shot. He just rips his head off. Also, a little bit of stuff they cut off from the comic. When Thragg is about to kill Nolan, and Nolan actually says to Mark, like, "Mark, I love you, and I thought it made me weak, but it was actually my big strength." In the show, he doesn't tell Mark that he loves him, and then Thragg decides to like fucking poke Mark in his eyes. All the Viltrumites are like, kill him, Grand Regent," and he's like, no. He, like I said, he still sees Mark as his own people. He's like, no, too many of our people are dead. There are too few of us. There's like not much Viltrumite left, and he still sees Mark and Nolan as like his people. A lot of people consider Thragg as this rough guy, just all anger, all strength, but Thragg is actually one of the most calm and collected people in the whole show. And also the animation was really good. Like I said in my previous videos, like they will lock in for the Viltrum War and shit, just like they did last year, and I was right. The animation in this episode is very, very good. I just wish we didn't got this treatment. I just wish, the show has an insane budget, 2.5 million per episode. With that kind of budget, you can have insane animation every episode. If they just didn't celebrity cast it. But again, I wish they learn their lesson by next season. I just have one more favorite fight left, and I just hope they don't fuck it up. But yeah, I'm very happy the way they adapted Viltrum War. Like, I just really don't have any complaint. This was a really good episode. But yeah, after this episode, Invincible is finally in like its second phase of the story. Like, if you have watched One Piece, this was basically the Marineford of Invincible. Not on Marineford level, obviously, not even close. Basically, this is the Marineford. Like, after this, the second half of the story starts. Next week, we obviously have the season finale, which again, I'm kind of surprised. This season went by really fast. Maybe because they released 3 episodes the first week. This year, Invincible time went out really fast. JJK, Invincible, all the good shows are ending so quickly. But anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about the season 4, episode 7 of Invincible. Very peak episode. I'm so hyped for the season finale. But till then, yeah, see ya.